I'm very grateful to have been given the opportunity to do it. I think it was a fantastic experience for me. I think it was a wonderful experience for the dancers, and I'm hoping that it was a really, really great experience for everybody else who was involved. I think it was a very challenging production to mount, and I think we did a very, very good job of it. I'm very happy with what came out.
Well, it is very interesting. For me personally, this is the first time when I can personally work together with David Kochevai and then Kaleidoscope, although they've been working in the past together, but I never worked with them. I've seen them, Kaleidoscope dancing. I'm a great fan of what they're doing, and I worked with the Symphony Choir during some of our concerts with the Symphony, but never all three institutions together, so it is very exciting for me.
I knew it would be special. I knew it would be wonderful. We were working with incredible artists, both in the pit, in the orchestra, and on the stage. And behind the scenes, David Hochoy's choreography I just found to be so brilliant and inspiring. So I knew that that was going to kind of take me away. But to watch it all happen live and in person was a really, was just beyond what I could have predicted.
This goes all the way back to the year 1909, when Maurice Ravel was introduced to Michel Fokine, a rather temperamental Russian choreographer. This man spoke no French. Ravel did not speak any Russian. He knew some swear words, but that was about the extent of it. They were asked by Serge Diaghilev, the great impresario of the Ballet Russe in Paris, to create a new ballet. And the subject matter was from ancient Greece. So somehow, over the course of 3 years, they came up with this masterpiece, which since then has gone into the orchestral repertoire. It's very rare these days for an orchestra to perform Daphnis and Chloe with dancers.
I'm Chloe.
And I'm Daphnis.
You go. Ready?
The ballet was first conceived in 1912, and it's one of Maurice Ravel's most famous works. It's considered by many a masterpiece orchestrally. It's kind of a boy meets girl story.
At first, I'm more of an innocent person, and I see Jill for the first time, who's Chloe, and something about her just catches my eye.
I chose Jill because, first of all, she's in her prime right now, and everything she does is larger than life. It's like she dances in Technicolor. And I knew that I needed a Chloe who, because we were doing it on a huge stage at Clues Hall, I needed somebody whose movements would read from the second terrace. So that's why I chose Jill, and I chose Brandon because I felt that he would be a very good complement to her. His innocence and his very sort of natural kind of grace would complement her very, very well. And plus, he's very young and he's a very good partner, and I knew there was going to be a very, very long duet for them, and it's actually about 6 or 7 minutes long, and I needed a dancer who was going to be able to sustain our interest through those 6 or 7 minutes for the entire time. So that's why I picked him.
There's kind of a vamp that comes in and tries to take Brandon away from me.
And she kind of seduces me in a way, and Jill comes and catches me, and kind of feel bad. And
It's a love
it's a love, yeah, it's a little love triangle at first.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Go into this as soon as possible. Yeah, because just stand there is not so good.
Okay.
Yeah, and then what happens here? Goes. This was.
there's another man named Dorkin who has his eyeball on me as well, and he keeps trying to take me as well, and then I get kidnapped by pirates.
Nice, very nice.
Pan is actually the one that comes to save me, and then we're reunited at the end and we fall in love.
The thing with the flute,
Where do we start
spatially,
it?
because I feel like you get so far away from him on the first one.
It
So
could be, I might be traveling.
So we do the death drop, and then I'm here.
As the story develops, as this piece goes, I like an innocent boy, and then I turn into more of a man through all the experiences throughout the piece.
But when you pull up this way, I would like you to, instead of
Do a
going
little
straight up, to do a
circle?
little circle with your head.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I personally didn't expect that I would be Daphnis.
This way?
Yeah.
Okay. Is
Don't
that okay
worry.
for you, Brandon?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
if you keep this like
Yeah, yeah.
Very, very surprised. And then when he said Jill is Chloe, I was kind of excited because we never really
Yeah,
get
we
a
don't
partner
dance
together.
very
And
much.
Yeah, that's good. Beautiful.
Just having this whole, all of these arts organizations coming together is a really, really cool thing. We haven't performed with the ISO in a full evening work for some time now. And we have the symphonic choir there as well. I mean, it's just gonna be a big arts extravaganza. We can't wait to do it. Very excited. I'm sad that we only get to do it twice.
I'd like to talk for a minute, David, about the scale of the production. We'll talk about the orchestra and the singers in a moment and for a real idea of the scale, but this involves a larger company for you, too. How many dancers will you be working with?
Well, right now Dance Kaleidoscope has 12 dancers, and we're planning on hiring 2 more, so we are on 14. We don't really have, I would love to hire 20 more dancers, but we don't have the money to hire 20 more dancers. And and actually I'm really happy that you all were able to see the stage, because you know the scale of the production really has a lot to do with how we're going to stage it. So the chorus is 160 people strong. So the orchestra is going to be here, and actually it will go into the extended pit, which grows to about row E. And then the choir will be backstage here on risers, right where that floor panel is. And I'll just tell you what my vision for the opening is. I just told this to Christophe, and that is that, and actually nobody knows this, you guys are going to be the first ones to hear it. I'm going to start this piece with just the orchestra and the choir back there on a bare stage. They'll be just like this, no wings. And so the music is going to start on a bare stage, and then slowly, because the opening, I would say 5 minutes, is very, very slow. As the voices come in, the wings will come in one by one, and then there'll be a scrim that comes down here, and the lights will dim, and then we will start the projection, so that we will be creating the piece in front of you as the whole thing evolves. So it's a piece that's created with the music and for the stage.
We wanted things to move. I knew that we were going to have a captive audience of people that are used to seeing rapid fire imagery all the time. And for me, with this scale of a production, when you're talking about imagery that's 50 feet wide and it's moving, it's kind of shocking to some people. If you're only 20 feet away from that, that's a huge thing to look at, especially with a live orchestra playing. So for me, it became more about, not so much about the color in any of the impressionistic stuff that we used, but it was more about the texture. And like, it was so big that you could actually see we could see the brush strokes, and we could see the detail in the imagery. So for me, it became more about that and more about the timing.
I'd like to ask what you intend or what's your vision for those projections. What will the audience see on those?
Because the music is very impressionistic, I think it's a beautiful example of Impressionism at its height. I want to use the work of impressionistic painters like Van Gogh and Matisse and their scenes so that these impressionistic paintings will set the scene for you.
Now, Christoph, do you imagine that you will be taking up every inch of this space with your orchestra on June 13th and 14th?
Yes, I think because this is enormous size orchestra. It's quadruple woodwinds, big brass section, then 2 harps, celesta, and very big string section, and a lot of percussion instruments, and also some offstage instruments. So the size of the score is just enormous. We have, for instance, in flute section, we have 4 flutists, but they perform on flute piccolo. Actually, for this piece, 4 of them. There are 2 piccolo flutes required. There are 3 flutes required, and there is also alto flute, which is a very rare instrument, very occasionally used, but there is a big section when Daphnis is there is a story about Pan and Syrinx, and this is a very extended flute solo. So actually the flute solo, just to extend the range of the instrument, Ravel did it by using smaller piccolo flute and also the larger alto flute. So then the scale of instrument is very big, and
but then the members of the orchestra, those members in that woodwind section, have to play as if they're one instrument then.
Exactly, and then there is one passage which I imagine is very tricky. I have never done the piece, but it looks like in the score when there is one very big scale from really top possible note to the very low alto flute note, which is played by 4 people, and they just need to play it as one person. So, and the last note of flute piccolo is where the first flute started. The first goes to second, and the second to alto, and in many passages it really has to sound like one person playing on the pan flute.
Now, we mentioned this vast orchestra and all the space that it will take up. We mentioned in passing the presence of 160 singers in a choir.
All the way to the quarter note, keep the line.
When they first contacted us about doing this piece, my initial reaction was, oh no.
I'm Marianne Tobias, and this is what I do at the ISO. I write program notes, such as these, for Daphne and Chloe, and they will be printed in a program book. I'm your musical tour guide, so to speak. I've been doing it for 23 years. So whenever you have voices in a score, they are put more or less down toward the bottom of the page, usually in the middle or maybe just above the strings sections. And in this case, the voices add another timbre, another color. So the voices are used like an instrument. Rather than presenting a big text, they're adding coloration, and so it's an instrumental kind of use of the voice rather than presenting a text.
I hoped I could get through my career without it, but as we're getting into it, I'm enjoying it.
It's difficult for me to imagine this situation, but I think that the problem might be that I will not hear them very well. So for me it will be very difficult to judge the balance between the orchestra and the chorus. So that is why we need many rehearsals before, and I probably would need to ask assistant conductor to conduct it, and I would need to go to double check if the chorus and orchestra is equally audible in every part of the audience, and this might be quite a challenge, because even when we set the balance there, it doesn't necessarily need to sound like this when I'm standing during performance.
This is a a really demanding piece for the choir. And it's also a piece in which the choir isn't center stage. We're on stage, which is great, but we're, as I understand it, going to be behind a scrim and probably only partly illuminated. So it may be that people don't see us at all. And at times it's scored in such a subtle way that it may not be evident to the audience members that a choir is singing. They may think it's a kind of a strange woodwind instrument or combination of instruments. That said, it's extremely challenging from a melodic and a harmonic standpoint for the singers. And so I had kind of hoped to avoid ever having to do this piece. I don't know if I should say that. We've done parts of it before and I've loved it. It's very exciting music and it's very beautiful. Now that we're getting into it, I'm having to reevaluate my former opinion, I guess, to be fair, because it is such ravishingly beautiful music. It's thought to be Ravel's best piece, and for us not to have the chance to sing it at some point would really be a loss. So I think I've come around to being a big fan of the piece now.
Ready, strong, oh!
What are the challenges of having the chorus so far back on the stage?
So I think it might be difficult, really, because normally, even in the orchestra, when the chorus is on the back of the orchestra, you have totally, even in Hilbert Circle, you have a totally different sound that comes to the audience. Like, for instance, when I conduct, I hear orchestra 3 times stronger than the chorus, which is on the back. So that is why, like, whenever I do a choir, this is actually a very unique way of scoring. It shows Ravel's mastery of orchestration, because it's a very unique way of using human voice. In this score, it is part of an orchestra. It's really because there is no text, so they either sing with open mouth, but only on you know, like, or with, sometimes for special effect, they're murmuring with in Italian it's called a bocca chiusa, or murmuring, so that they close their mouth, and they make these charming imitations of nymphs and creating a very special color, very special mood for this story. So it's really unique orchestration.
It's beautiful.
I think, you know, one of the great things about David and his work is that it's rooted in an incredible schooling with Martha Graham, but it's always, I always find it to be looking forward and looking ahead, and certainly, you know, there's a little more freedom when you come from the world of what I guess would be called contemporary dance as opposed to classical ballet, where some of the rules and regulations are a little freer to do a little more expression and more expressive movement, which I think is pretty amazing and cool at the same time. That you know, visually, as you're listening to the music, David has choreographed and they've created this machine visually in and around the music, which is really amazing. We just got done watching it. It's incredible. Actually, I'm feeling for the dancers. 57 minutes straight. I mean, I can't imagine sucking wind as much as they have to make this happen, but they pull it off like it's nothing. It's amazing.
I thought we were going to try it with the scrim, and then if they can't see, we'll do it without.
So I need to add that in.
Well, I asked for 50 feet opening, which is what the studio is.
No, I don't. Well, a run off for the background.
Yeah.
It's gonna be kind of bad.
How is your costume fitting you? I tell her to stop the music. That was beautiful. Are we ready? Here we go.
Well, first of all, I think this is a very interesting choreography, and I especially like the fact that David decided to change the story slightly. And I think in case of this particular ballet, it is really necessary, because the original plot that exists in the score is not, I would say, not very coherent. So actually, with David's alterations, it makes actually much more sense, and the action, the flow of action is much better. So I was surprised of seeing those changes, but I think he did very good choices, so I completely agree.
In the story, the suitor who rivals Daphnis, Dorcan, is supposed to do this dance, which is very clumsy and everybody laughs at him. I didn't want that to happen. I wanted his rival to be, a stud who was vying for this girl's affections, and I didn't want everybody to be laughing at him. I just wanted there to be a good competition between the men. And then the second thing I did was I made the same guy, out of necessity, but I thought it was going to be really interesting. The same guy who played Dorcan played, the same dancer played the King of the Pirates. And I think it made it very interesting and very psychological that this guy who was vying for her affection also comes and abducts her. And is she really abducted? Does she really want to be abducted, or is it in her mind that she's being taken away? So I think it made the complexity a little bit more interesting for me.
It's a difficult task for the conductor, I have to tell you, because normally I'm used that whatever I do on stage with the orchestra, I can be completely responsible for what is going on, and that gives me complete freedom in the way I shape music. I can decide about tempi and everything. Here, honestly, I needed to sacrifice a little of my own vision for good of entire production. But this is life. I think this is a very normal thing. When you are in a community, one needs to sacrifice a little of their own ego just for common good. So I think in this kind of collaboration, it's actually, it's quite exciting, actually.
I started becoming scared around, I would say maybe 15 minutes into it, because I didn't realize how complex and intricate the music was. So around 15 minutes into the music, I thought to myself, wow, this music is very, very hard. It's very complex. I can't just throw things together. I have to be very careful about how I'm going to choreograph this. I have a lot more to go. I have 2 more scenes to go, and I just hope that I can do the music justice, and I hope that I can do the story justice, and I hope number one, I can finish it on time, and then I hope that it's going to be really, really great when I'm done with it. There was a great onus on me to make it work, but I have to say that onus was very, very much shared by all of the dancers, because they were terrific people to work with. They were gung-ho from the beginning. They were really, really fantastic at, if I had ideas, if I would say, let's see if we can fit this chunk of choreography into this piece of music. They were really great at saying, okay, you know, let's do this and let's do that. I couldn't have done it without them. They were really, really enthusiastic.
Clues Hall is really unique, more so than any other venue in the city, and in fact in the state, I think. Given the size that we have here, given the depth of the stage, given the acoustical qualities of it, we really are unique, I think, in the Midwest. And I don't know that we could have done this production anywhere else.
Beyond the thrill of the piece and the moment, an opportunity like this says something very critical to who we are in this great community. And this is, I think, one of the things that's unique about Indianapolis. We are artists and members of a community who love to work together and who will do so at great peril or cost or discomfort or inconvenience, because we know that when we do, we can achieve that moment of the bacchanal finale that nothing else will give us. So, yeah, we'll do it again. Have they left a message?